Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. B. Most of you know who I am. I'm here to talk to you about the greatest subject, the best subject, social studies, and to prove once again why this subject is better than all the rest. So, we're going to talk about germs. Obviously, we got COVID 19, we have in the news, and I want to talk to you about this isn't anything new. In fact, one of the things that the time period I want to talk about is between the Civil War and today. I know that's not really the area that I cover so much with you, but let's talk about this. So, germs. Um, the person I'm going to talk to you today about is James Garfield. James Garfield is the 20th president of the United States, about 1880. He was elected. He was president for a short time. He was from Ohio. He was one of those presidents who kind of accidentally fell into it. You know, he served in the Civil War. He came up. He wanted to be a congressman. He was a congressman, and he got elected to be. He got nominated to be the president, to run for the president under the Republican ticket, and he won. Um, thing about James Garfield, though, is he was assassinated by this guy, Charles Guiteau. I know I'm messing up the name, but that's not important. He was shot by this man, but he actually wasn't killed. He lingered for a long time. And at that time, you know, you're familiar, before I go any further, we're familiar with what doctors do today. Um, Doctors today, they always they have the mask if they're operating. They have some kind of protective clothing on, usually like you see here, like the scrubs that they're wearing in the background, and they also spend a lot of time washing their hands. Correct? So I want to make sure that you understand that that's the way we see it today. Back during during Garfield's time, what we see is a different kind of way that the doctors were taking care of their patients. In fact, many of the doctors were Civil War doctors who had survived. And in fact, the doctor that was the doctor to Garfield, President Garfield, was a guy whose name was Bliss. And the best way to tell a doctor back then, at least their thinking was to think that if they had the bloodiest smock, the messiest gear, the instruments that were well used and usually covered in some kind of pus or some other type of bodily stuff. And they did this thinking, they thought, oh, well, this guy's got a lot of experience. Unfortunately, at this time period, we were at that time period before and just after, when they were discovering that these things called germs existed and that you needed to kill them, and that these germs could cause things like sepsis or things like COVID, like we have today, where people can die if they're not keeping their hands clean. And Dr. Bliss completely believed that it was perfectly acceptable to be poking around into the wound of President Garfield. And by doing so, he was using dirty instruments, didn't wash his hands, didn't have any protective garments. And of course, we know today what that leads to is that makes it worse for the patient. And throughout the time period, President Garfield went from a robust man to a weak and enfeebled man because they never dealt with keeping the instruments clean. And what this bullet that was in him, this wound that he had, turned septic on him, and it eventually killed him. So this the person who is his assassin is considered the person who assassinated, but really the president lingered for a good long time after the bullet from this guy. And this guy was like, just like in today, you see a lot of the stuff going on about the media making a big deal about anything. I mean, somebody falls and make a big deal of it. This guy, the media was making a big deal of this guy and what he was doing. It was like a three-ring circus, his trial and everything connected to it. So I think it's important to keep in mind, the perspective of it. And also, when doctors are washing their hands, they're doing it to keep their patients clean. And this was something that didn't happen for um, back then with President Garfield. So I want to do something. Just give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I had to put the mouse down and had to start over again. I just wanted to talk about this, about making sure you wash your hands, just like the people who I did have one. Oh, there they are. Just like when they wash their hands, we should make sure that you wash your hands as best you can. By the way, that's not something that's dealing with the COVID-19 issue right now. This is something you should do on a regular basis when you leave the bathroom, when you have any type of interaction throughout the day. It's good just to wash your hands whenever you get an opportunity. Before this, now it's much better to do it more often. So what should you do? You should be washing your hands. So you need to do it for about 20 seconds again with hot water or warm water and soap. Good soap that's going to clean your hands. So ready? Let's do the timing for 20 seconds. I know since this is the best subject and we are going to be talking, this is about American history, which makes it even better. Let's do it this way. Let's wash your hands to this timer. Practice this at home as often as you can. If you want, copy this, print it up, put it by where you wash your hands. It'll help you even later on in life because these are words that you should live by. Okay, ready? Here we go. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, I don't have a stopwatch in front of me, but I guarantee you that that's at least 20 seconds. I think when I did time it before, it was over 25. So if you do it right, you should be washing your hands and you get that great phrase, which, by the way, from the Declaration of Independence, those of you who got it, bonus points to you. Declaration of Independence, that is from a great document, one of our founding document that separated us from Great Britain. So I'll leave the rest of that for you to learn from this reader. For now, you have yourself a great night. Have yourself an awesome day. And make sure you wash your hands. And remember, those little germs, they've been around for a long time. And I'll be glad to talk to you. There's a great book out there by Jared Diamond, Steel, Guns, and Germs. I think that's what it is. You should check it out if you get a chance. Take care of yourselves.